Well, thanks again to you both. Hello and welcome to the program, which will start with the Adelaide Housing Trust tenants battling a terrible termite infestation. The home's a ticking time bomb and the unsanitary environment's making life unbearable for one of the occupants, who's terminally ill. The conditions are so bad this couple's forced to sleep in their driveway. But as Vassal Melandris reports, Housing SA says an immediate transfer is simply out of the question.
Look at them.
A lot of stress, a lot of worry. We don't sleep much at night.
It's not right and it's very unhealthy and it's actually damaging taxpayer-owned property.
They're the tiny but ruthless home invaders wreaking havoc on this Port Adelaide property.
We've just had enough of it.
Each year, up to 20% of Australian homes are set upon by termites, including the dwelling of Housing SA tenant Heather Nettleton and her terminally ill husband, Alan.
My husband has cancer and it's just had a devastating impact on our health.
With 3 infestations in nearly as many years, rotting timber, mould in the kitchen, Heather says Housing SA has clearly failed to properly treat and eradicate the pest problem.
I was under the assumption that all the white ants, everything would be gone. There was hardly anything done. There was thousands of them. They were through the bed, through everything, through sheets, blankets.
The dank and unsanitary living conditions have forced Alan to sleep in his refurbished bus parked in the driveway. Not good for your health, is it?
No, definitely ain't.
We've got high moisture meetings at the top here.
Neil Raw from Innovative Pest Consultants inspected the Nettletons' home on our behalf and after just a couple of minutes found evidence of current termite activity and plenty of it.
You've got a bait box that's been installed just on the other side here. That means there's evidence of the termites in this section here, and the whole idea is for the termites to actually feed the bait and take the bait home.
According to Neil, the house will need to be checked on a regular basis, and even once the pests have gone, it's important to quickly remove damaged and brittle timber to prevent the property from caving in like a house of cards. Would you be concerned if that damage is a couple of years old?
Well, if the damage was a couple of years old, well, I'd say there's been a failure in communication to make sure that that particular job gets done.
With all this hanging over their head, it begs the question, why are the Nettletons still obliged to live here?
I don't believe I should, let alone my husband.
In the private sector, the government's own tenancy tribunal would be kicking the backside of a private landlord, and yet here we are, the government landlord, just neglecting their basic commitment to a tenant.
Family First MLC Robert Brokenshire says the termite-infested house is typical of Housing SA's failure to manage and maintain their properties.
I've seen so many examples of this. I've seen fire-damaged Housing SA homes where they don't even replace the framework, they just gyprock it again. So it doesn't surprise me, but it concerns me. And
he says, as usual, it's the tenants who suffer as a result.
They're now telling us that they're on a Category 4 for re-accommodation within Housing SA, and I'm scratching on my head saying, hang on a minute, it's not their fault that the white ants are in the home, and you're now saying they either stay in that home, which is below living standards, or you put them on a Category 4, and I'm told, wait 20 years. I mean, that's just a joke.
In fact, Robert Brokenshire recently received FOI figures revealing in the last 12 months, nearly 1,000 single individual tenants were given 2 to 3 bedroom Housing SA homes, while couples like Alan and Heather, who's also a part-time carer for her grandchildren, continue to wait and wait.
And it's unsatisfactory, and the minister's got to turn the department up on its head.
I'm unaware of the figures that you're talking about, but having said that, we do have, by and large, occupancy standards in place where a single person is entitled to a 1 or 2 bedroom property.
Housing SA's Director of Operations, Brendan Moran, was at pains to point out the Nettletons are not being neglected or mistreated.
The Nettletons can continue to live in the house safely because the baiting treatment that we're using is not injurious to health. is not noxious.
And as for that elusive transfer,
we've assessed the Nettletons at this stage as just Category 4, which is a low category. We've asked the Nettletons to provide us with more information.
So the onus is on them. As far as you're aware, Housing SA is doing nothing wrong?
We've made contact with the Nettletons because we want them to come back and talk to us further about their situation.
In the meantime, all Heather and Alan can do is hope that termites take the bait and move on, even if they themselves can't.
I don't want to live here like this anymore, and I want Housing SA to hurry up and do something about it.